It was 11:15 in the morning. London's weather carried a slight chill, but the sun was out. The kind of pale winter sun that still manages to coax a smile out of people's faces. Outside Buckingham Palace, the crowd was its usual self, tourists clicking away on their cameras, children gripping their parents' fingers tightly, and the guards standing in their tall bearskin caps and scarlet uniforms, motionless as statues, refusing to so much as blink. Among this crowd was a little girl named Lily, just 5 years old. In her hand, she clutched a small teddy bear with one torn ear, and her grandmother had told her that morning, "These guards don't move at all, no matter what happens." Lily simply couldn't believe it. She let go of her mother's hand and inched closer to the railing, step by careful step. Her eyes locked onto the face of one particular guard, as though she were issuing a silent challenge. The guard stood exactly as he was trained to, chin level, eyes fixed straight ahead, rifle held with practiced precision. To the untrained eye, he looked less like a man and more like a bronze statue that had simply been dressed for the occasion. But behind that stillness, as with every guard on duty, there was a person. Someone with a life, a family, a heart that beat the same as anyone else's, no matter how disciplined the training. A small smile, the guard, whom we'll call James for this story, stood perfectly still in his position. His face carried no expression whatsoever, exactly as protocol demands during King's Guard duty. But Lily had something else in mind. She lifted her teddy bear up toward him, as if she were formally introducing the two of them. "This is Mr. Buttons," she said, with the kind of innocence only a 5-year-old can manage. "He wants to be a guard too, just like you." A small camera crew standing nearby, part of a documentary team filming a series called Real Life Royal Guards, immediately swung their lens toward Lily and James. Everyone around assumed James would give no reaction at all, because that is, after all, the rule. King's Guards remain motionless while on duty. They do not speak to onlookers. They do not smile. They do not react, no matter how charming or persistent the audience might be. But then something happened that nobody in that crowd expected. A moment that touched every heart. The very corner of James's eyes softened, just barely, so faint that if the camera hadn't zoomed in for a close-up, no one watching from a distance would have noticed it at all. His gaze flickered toward the worn teddy bear, then back to Lily's earnest little face. The rules of his duty said he could not move. He could not speak. But underneath the uniform was a man, perhaps even a father himself, with a daughter of his own waiting for him at home after his shift ended. For a few fleeting seconds, while the senior officer's attention was turned elsewhere, James made the smallest possible gesture with his gloved fingers, as though offering Mr. Buttons a proper salute. Just for an instant, his finger lifted ever so slightly toward the teddy bear, a tiny, private acknowledgement that broke every unspoken rule of stillness, yet somehow broke none of them at all. Lily's eyes lit up instantly. "He saluted Mr. Buttons," she shouted, spinning around toward her mother, absolutely thrilled. A soft murmur of awe rippled through the crowd. Someone nearby pulled out their phone and began recording, and that clip would go on to be watched by millions of people around the world in the days that followed. Between duty and the heart, James returned to his statuesque position almost immediately, his expression settling back into its usual solemnity. But there remained in his eyes a trace of warmth that refused to fully disappear, the kind of softness that lingers even after the moment itself has passed. A senior officer standing a short distance away had witnessed the entire exchange. A faint smile crossed his own face too, because he himself had once stood in that very spot, learning how to hold his composure in the face of a child's pure, uncomplicated joy. Tradition has its place. Discipline, focus, unwavering duty. These qualities define what it means to serve as one of the King's Guards. But humanity, it turns out, is never truly bound by rules alone. Sometimes a gesture that lasts no longer than a single second can end up living in someone's heart forever. The crowd's reaction word of what had happened spread through the crowd within minutes, even before anyone had checked their phones. Parents lifted their own children higher to see if the smiling guard would react again. An elderly tourist from Japan, who had been visiting London for the first time, turned to her husband and said she'd never expected to witness something so tender from a ceremony known the world over for its rigid formality. A young couple nearby, clearly on their honeymoon, began recording their own version of the moment, capturing Lily proudly showing Mr. Buttons off to anyone who would look. The atmosphere outside the palace gates, usually charged with the quiet reverence of tourists snapping quick photos and moving along, had shifted into something warmer, a shared, collective moment of unexpected joy. Even the palace's official social media accounts, which typically posted formal announcements and ceremonial updates, found themselves flooded with requests to share the clip. It captured something people didn't often get to see, the human being underneath centuries of tradition. The documentary crew, who had spent weeks filming the guard's daily routines, the changing of the guard, the long hours of standing watch, the discipline required to remain still for extended periods regardless of weather or crowd, behavior, realized they had captured something far more valuable than any scripted segment could offer, the director later remarked, during an interview included in the documentary's final cut, that moments like these couldn't be planned or manufactured. You could set up every camera angle perfectly, wait for hours in the cold, and still never capture something as genuine as a child's innocent gesture meeting a guardsman's unplanned human response. It was, in the crew's own words, the kind of moment that reminds you why you fell in love with storytelling in the first place. A year late, the story doesn't end there. A year later, the documentary team returned to find Lily's family, hoping to check in and see how the now famous moment had affected her. By then, Lily was a little older, a little taller, but Mr. Buttons, his one torn ear still unmended, remained by her side, carefully preserved as a keepsake of that unforgettable day. "I don't know what his name was," Lily said with a wide smile, sitting on her living room floor surrounded by drawings she'd made of guards and palaces. "But I'll never forget when he saluted Mr. Buttons." Her mother added that the day had meant something to their whole family too, because it reminded them that behind every uniform, behind every rule of discipline and duty, there is still a person capable of being moved by simple, childlike kindness. Lily's grandmother, who had originally told her the guards never move, laughed when recalling the story. "I suppose," she said, "even the most disciplined rules have room for a little bit of magic now and then." The video's final shot was a wide-angle view of Buckingham Palace's exterior. Guards standing motionless in their positions, tourists wandering about, the rhythm of London life carrying on exactly as it always does. But if you looked closely enough, past the uniforms, past the discipline, past the centuries of unbroken tradition, you could see it. A human being, quietly capable of being moved by a child's smile, even if only for a single fleeting second. That moment, captured forever on camera, reminds us of something simple yet profound, that even the sternest-looking people carry the softest hearts underneath, waiting only for the right moment and the right innocence to let them show.